Welcome, everyone, and thank you for being here today. I'm excited to introduce our topic, the courage to let go, redefining love beyond possession. In this presentation, we'll explore how our understanding of love can evolve beyond the traditional notions of possession and persistence. We'll discuss why sometimes letting go is the true act of love, and how redefining love can lead to greater freedom and authentic connection. So, let's dive into this journey together. But what if this belief, deeply rooted in romantic ideology, is actually misleading? What if the idea that love always means holding on tightly isn't the full story? Sometimes, true love isn't about clinging or possessiveness. Instead, it can be expressed through letting go, through giving space and trust. This challenges our usual understanding and invites us to see love in a new light. It connects directly to the overall theme of the presentation, exploring the many faces of love and understanding what it really means to connect with someone on a deeper level. Let's talk about the romantic myth, love above all else. Our modern understanding of love really stems from the Romantic movement, which emphasized passion over practicality. This shift was powerful because it transformed how we view romantic relationships, placing emotion and intense feeling at the center. Writers like D.H. Lawrence captured this idea beautifully. He once wrote that a man in love will sleep for the rest of his life on a park bench for a woman he loves. That vivid image really highlights how love, in the romantic sense, can be all-consuming and even sacrifice everything. This concept ties into the overall theme of the presentation by showing how these romantic ideals have shaped our expectations and ideals about love today. This vision of love is truly intoxicating. It paints a picture where, if we really care about someone, external realities like distance, money, family opposition, illness, or even different life paths just become minor inconveniences. It's the idea that love can conquer all these obstacles. The storybook promise here is that love itself is enough to overcome any challenge. But as we'll see throughout this presentation, it's important to question how realistic or sustainable this kind of love truly is. So, while the romantic ideal often paints a picture of perfect harmony and effortless love, the reality is usually much more complex. Couples often find that affection alone doesn't automatically bridge cultural divides or heal the emotional or practical burdens that come with chronic illness. It's also important to recognize that shared love doesn't always resolve deep-seated differences in values or beliefs. The romantic notion can sometimes lead us to deny these harsh realities, making us overlook the challenges that are very much part of real life. Ultimately, this highlights how important it is to approach relationships with honesty and a willingness to face difficult truths, rather than just clinging to an ideal that might not fully reflect reality. The mature alternative, love with wisdom. There is another, less celebrated philosophy, one that respects both emotions and reality. It's about understanding that, while feelings are important, they're not the whole story. This approach recognizes that tender feelings, no matter how sincere, can't magically fix deeper issues. For example, ongoing conflict, long-term incompatibility, or the slow erosion of joy under pressure. These are real challenges. And love with wisdom suggests that true maturity involves acknowledging these realities, not just idealizing feelings. It's about balancing the heart and the mind, appreciating emotions, but also facing the facts. This way of loving is more sustainable and honest, especially when things get tough. It connects to our overall theme, highlighting that mature love isn't just about passion, but about wisdom and resilience. Let's explore a deeper understanding of love beyond just passion. When we think of love as care and nurturing, it prompts us to ask some important questions. Is it truly loving to hold on to someone if being with us causes them more pain than peace? If our presence creates struggles they could easily avoid, can we honestly claim devotion? It's worth reflecting on whether our actions are aimed at their fulfillment or simply satisfying our own needs. This slide connects to the overall theme by challenging us to consider if genuine love means letting go when it's the kindest choice. Love, after all, is about their well-being and growth, not just our desire to hold on. When leaving is considered the higher form of love, It challenges us to think differently about what true care really involves. Sometimes, people might hide selfish motives behind noble-looking reasons, like claiming they're sacrificing for others when in fact they're acting out of self-interest. It's easy to mistake that for genuine love, but we need to look deeper. What I find truly inspiring are those quiet heroes, people who choose to step aside, not out of anger or resentment, but out of a sincere desire to protect or support someone else's well-being. Their actions are driven by authentic care, even if it means they have to leave or let go. This concept ties back to our overall theme. Love isn't always about holding on tightly. Sometimes, the highest act of love is knowing when to let go, when to step back, and when to trust that someone else's growth or happiness is more important than our own desire to stay close. It's about understanding that true love is rooted in genuine concern, even if it requires difficult choices like departure. Sometimes, I think we forget that love isn't just about passion or intense feelings. It's also about recognizing the limits of what the relationship can realistically offer. There are times when the most loving thing we can do is to acknowledge those boundaries. For example, saying, "I adore you, but I will not tether you to a life of hardship by insisting we stay together." That's a powerful statement. It shows that love isn't about forcing someone to stay in a situation that might be harmful or unsustainable. And I want to emphasize, this is not a sign of weakness. It's not a lack of passion or commitment. Instead, it's a mature and compassionate recognition that love involves protecting the other person's long-term happiness. Sometimes, that means making tough decisions or setting boundaries that serve their best interests, even if it's difficult in the moment. Ultimately, this perspective aligns with the broader theme of the presentation, which is about understanding love as a balance between feeling deeply and acting wisely. Loving someone isn't just about how strongly we feel. It's also about how well we care for their future, their well-being, and their happiness in the long run. As we come to the conclusion, I want to emphasize that love is much more complex and nuanced than many of us are often led to believe. There are actually two important types of courage in love. The first is the courage to stay and fight against the odds, to work through struggles and challenges because we truly care. But equally important is the courage to leave when staying would cause more harm than good. This second form of courage is often overlooked, especially in romantic culture, which tends to glorify the idea of fighting to hold on at all costs. But sometimes, letting go, when it's driven by genuine love, can be the most profound act of devotion. It's about recognizing that true love sometimes means freeing someone rather than trying to control or possess them. Because, in the end, the greatest love isn't necessarily about fighting endlessly to keep someone close. It's about giving them the space to live their life fully, unburdened by our own fears or desires. And that's a powerful, liberating act of love that can be more meaningful than any struggle to hold on.